apparently Hasan Piker, also known as Hamas Piker, doesn't want to go to TwitchCon because it might be a bit too dangerous for him and for his community. It's nice to see that he has taken the murderous political assassination of one of his opponents to heart by doing what every yellow belly would do, and that's run away.
Is Sam Hyde going to be at TwitchCon?
Damn, man. You know, a former guest of the network, Jay Viper, was at the very first TwitchCon, and that guy has barely aged. And the next time you see Jay Viper, folks, tell him he looks like Saul Goodman from Better Call Saul.
He does. He does.
He actually kind of does.
That freaked me out when I was watching Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Okay? Absolutely.
I was watching Mr. Nobody. Yes. I'm sorry.
Goodness me. No wonder he's got the hot Latina wife. He helps Walter White with his businesses. Okay, folks? Damn, it's insane. But let's get Noise's perspective. Do you think Hasan needs to go to the funny farm?
Oh, I think Hasan needs to be in prison for all the things he said and encouraged and, publicly spoken and with so many followers and so many people are like, they're idolizing him. They're like, I want to live up to what he says. I want to be the next Hasan. He needs to be in prison, to say the least.
Indeed. Apparently, Collective Shout wants to teach 5-year-old kids about sex. So that just goes to show what kind of birds of a feather flock together. Friday's show is going to be very interesting. Of course, we're debuting a new show on Thursdays, but I don't get the final say on all the topics because a woman is in charge. Very dangerous, I know. We're becoming progressive by having a woman host. But I'm trying to get the sufficient context for this, and unfortunately, I can't find it. Elijah, why don't you give your perspective on this situation so far?
Well, I know that if anybody on the right, pretty much, if they said some of the things that he did, they would be in jail for a very long time. And it is, to me, if you do something like that to incite things like that and get people all riled up and cause events to happen, such as what happened to Mr. Kirk, you should be in prison for a very long time. That you do not, you have the freedom of speech, but you do not have, that freedom does not cover you getting away with those kinds of things. You have to deal with the consequences of those words that you speak to people.
Deport Hasan is as simple as that. Oh, I fear for my safety and the safety of others. I don't want to interact with detractors. It's like, dude, are you building a bunker to secure yourself because you're worried ICE may call your abode and ship you back to Turkey?
He's going to hang out in that sewer with the other Antifoids.
What people really need to understand about Hasan Piker is that he's the 21st century's answer to Islamic infiltration. Okay? Look, we see different pressure groups all the time. We have the Muslim pressure group, which comes mostly from the left. We see the Jewish pressure group that mostly comes from the right. We see the Christian pressure group that comes from everywhere for some reason. No wonder it's so disorganized. We see all these pressure groups pulling apart the fabric of our society, when what we need now more than ever is a strong, united, whole community. But that's not going to happen with all these pressure groups around. That's why it says America first. By saying America first, you're making yourself hostile to Hasan and his supporters and all the supporters of their pressure group. By saying America first, you're naturally going against the various Christian pressure groups. And by saying America first, you are declaring yourself an enemy of all people who are anti-American. That usually wouldn't be a problem. However, a third of the United States is anti-American. And the great example of that is they're going to elect a Muslim mayor in New York City.
Cool.
It's a foregone conclusion, folks. Cuomo ain't gonna win, all right? How does a country that endured one of the most deadly terror attacks in history, the likes of which had not been seen in American history since Pearl Harbor, which was effectively a declaration of war in its action, and then 25 years later, we're going to elect a Muslim mayor for the same city. That would be like Hawaii electing a Japanese leader in 1970. Okay?
Oh, boy.
Fucking insane.
On point.
Insane. But let's get Jose's perspective on this whole situation.
You know, it shouldn't surprise anyone that Hasan is absolutely cowardly, but I also think there's a measure of diabolicalness in his refusing to show up because he says, I don't want to show up because I'm worried about violence against me. Well, we already know the other side is not particularly prone to violence, the side that you're worried about. What you're doing is creating what's called a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. And you can't put it past these people because these people in the past on Hasan's side of the political aisle have faked hate crimes before. Just ask Jussie Smollett. It's very easy. I was walking at 2 a.m. in Chicago and some guys came up to me. This is MAGA country. You're that effing homosexual from that show. Yeah, that show that literally nobody on the MAGA side ever watched or would know about. But Hasan is probably setting up to do something similar. I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody attempt to inflict violence on Hasan and it be a completely fabricated. And for those who don't think Hasan can fabricate shit, bear in mind everything Hasan Piker says and does is nothing more than a miserable professional wrestling gimmick. This is a guy whose first gimmick was trying to be like Andrew Tate and what Andrew Tate is now. He failed at it, probably because of the fact that he looks like a massive homosexual. So he said, barring that, I'll just dip into Uncle Chenk's sphere of influence and say America deserved 9/11 and wave my Muslim pride bullshit all over the place, and they'll give me a platform, and it's worked out very well. That grift succeeded. The previous grift of trying to be a manosphere influencer failed. It failed miserably, and the irony is most of the people that are now on his nuts every day, if they went back and saw his old content, would be infuriated at some of the things that this guy used to say. Nothing about Hasan is genuine. Nothing about Hasan is sincere. He came from the same, he came from the same lab where they created Bad Bunny, who, if you look at, looks exactly the same physiognomy as Hasan. I'm like, where are they getting these losers? It's absolutely
they're getting
ridiculous.
it from the same factory that made, what was his name? Brinlin something? I keep forgetting his last name.
Brylan Hollyhand. There you go. They're mass producing these.
Apparently, I was a child when Charlie Kirk first found me, and that's not fucking suspicious at all.
And just as a side about Bad Bunny, I'll say that I don't claim him. They say he's Puerto Rican, but yeah, look at him, look at me, look at Furious Dan, look at Hypnotic, look at Toasty. One of these things is not like the others. One of these things doesn't belong. Bad Bunny has more in common with Hasan Piker, grown ass man wearing a dress. But
insane.
Look, Hasan is gonna miss out on his chance to break his back like the other prostitute on Twitch did at TwitchCon several years ago. All right.
Yeah, man, it's absolutely insane. What's right? Well, we have the mindset going around now that America should be last.
Mm-hmm.
The mindset that Hasan spouts, like the quote that he's famous for, rather infamous for. Could you imagine if a prominent left winger 50 years ago said America deserved Pearl Harbor? instant destruction. Instant.
Mm.
Right? Because when Pearl Harbor was attacked, there were a few thousand casualties.
And
A lot of people lost their lives as a
And
result.
by the way, Digny, that was not a right or left thing. The right and left both would have shunned you for that at that time period. It was a universal thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as if, because think about the mindset of America today and apply it to American history. Could you imagine? Japan attacks Pearl Harbor. The entire political left endorses Japan's attack on imperialist America. But it's insane because Japan is imperialist, so it's fucking contradictory. Why? Because Japan has not attacked the Soviet Union. It has attacked evil America. Byron left because he's a secret communist. But that's a contradiction because he works. So he must be very good at being a communist spy. Thank you to Discuss Thing for the 5 Bulgarian Lev saying, cheers to everyone from 30 years in the past. Well, thank you for that, Helzo. We do appreciate you.
Did he make
my
me
good
do
man.
math?
And we also appreciate the fact that if we applied the modern logic of today's America, even to America's recent past, it doesn't make any logical sense. Like, go back to the 1980s when Reagan was campaigning on crushing communism, tear down this wall, right? You didn't have demon rats saying, let's bend over backwards to the Soviet Union and let's get gang raped by them, okay? Let's give them the rest of Germany. Let's fully disarm our nuclear capabilities while the Soviets have literally thousands of nuclear missiles year on year. No, they were like, let's have a talk, let's discuss peace, but they weren't all, let's bend over backwards to the opposition, like the Democrats are today, who want to give Iran nuclear weapons, who want China to take all of America's jobs, that want Mexicans flooding the border. It's insane, folks. And who pushes that discourse, that insane discourse? It's people like Hasan Piker, who belong on the funny farm. And while he's here, let's get Byron's perspective. Does Byron? Well, yes, Byron needs to go to the funny farm, especially when he doesn't have his meds. But does Hasan need to be sent?
I've been there before.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me all right? I had to switch to my Kindle because my phone overheated and shut down on me. Plus, I do have to get into work here pretty shortly. With regards to Hasan, first of all, not shocked that he's decided he doesn't want to go to TwitchCon because he's afraid of the very same violence that he has invited upon people repeatedly. Not shocking that he's decided to be a complete hypocritical coward about it. Secondly, I love that Jose brought up his past, that he used to be an attempted pickup artist, who besides myself remembers the infamous line from the end of one of his videos, old enough to mount, because he was one of those kinds of folks.
No!